and this is 3 at 3. 3 at 3, I bring you unusual option activity, and we try to highlight for you some opportunities that you may want to avail yourself of. So let's kick it off. Last trading day of August 2020. A fantastic August it has been, my friends. It is August 31st, 2020. Our disclaimer is as follows. This is for educational and informational purposes only. Full stop. Intellectual property rights notice. Yeah, virtually everything you're about to see here, there we go, nice fill. Virtually everything you're about to see here is copyrighted, trademarked, registered marked, and or patented. So any of the processes that I describe would probably fit within one of those categories. Please ask us before you use any of the information that I present. All right, let's take a look. There's one from Thursday, Roku, at 169.88. It continues to work for us, and just thought I'd point out that it went back to right around 174.10 today, and we're still enjoying the ride in Roku. Although, as I've told you, I have aggressively sold calls in Roku. So let's see how that plays out. It's been a nice ride so far. If you'd like to learn how to trade options, how to trade stocks, how to trade cryptocurrencies, how to trade futures, well, we can teach you that over at Market Rebellion. We've got dozens and dozens of instructors. We've got some of the best distance learning platforms in the business, meaning that you could log in at any time, day or night, and do these tutorials. And before you move on to the next chapter, we make sure you know what you're talking about so that you don't hurt yourself, so you don't blow yourself up. If you decide to blow yourself up later, well, okay, but we have shown you what time decay will impact these trades, how volatility, compression, and expansion will impact these trades, as well as teaching you about things like cryptocurrency, not leaving your currency on non-regulated exchanges and so forth. We can teach you about all of that, folks. Go on over to marketrebellion.com/get started to learn more. The beautiful and just brilliant Liz Young will be joining us today. Liz, of course, market strategist of BNY Mellon, has been on with us many times on the Halftime Report. I believe she's a regular contributor on CNBC. And so many of you have enjoyed her comments that we reached out to Liz, and she was nice enough to say yes. So today at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, right as the market closes, Liz Young will be joining us for our Rebellion Roundtable. Encourage you to tune in. You can do that live if you register. It is free, but you must register. Otherwise, you can get it tomorrow, and you can let that sink in for 24 hours before you react to it. Or you can get Liz's comments live at 4 p.m. Eastern Time today just by registering at marketrebellion.com. Let's talk about Apple, shall we? Why? Because stock has been moving higher. I'm just giddy about it. It is one of the reasons this is my best year ever for trading, is that Apple has absolutely exploded. After a 4-for-1 stock split, it's nearly back to where I bought and really loaded up heavily in 2018, that December of 2018 when I was able to buy sub 150. Here it is pushing back to 130, and that's after a 4-for-1 stock split. So I know those of you who are in this with me already love it. Well, take a look at this. People are buying the 132.50 calls. Stock is 130.50. So those are $2 out of the money from where the stock is trading right now. They bought a lot of those quickly. They bought a lot of other strikes too. The volume in this one, incredible. So we have already taken some nice fat profits today. We hope to take more. And I'm highlighting this one for you as far as unusual option activity. Now for fresh meat, our 3 at 3, how about this? Tractor Supply. Scott Wapner here, talking about Tractor Supply. Note the price. It was $146.95 when Scott highlighted that John would be talking about this in just a couple seconds. And indeed, there's John talking about it after the stock moves 75 cents, just on the word that we're going to be talking about it. Should I be flattered? Yes, but it's data, folks. The data do matter. So what should you do? Well, you should, of course, make sure any investment that I describe is appropriate for you before you make that investment. But what I said was, stock's 147.60. They are buying upside calls. Whoops, that's the Apple, sorry, from just a little bit earlier. Here's our Tractor Supply. Stock was 145.80, not 147.60, when we saw this, that they were actively buying the weekly 155, 155 calls. So we saw those calls hitting. We cited it on our blog, which our members only blog. They can talk back and forth with us, by the way, on that blog. So in other words, not just a one-way street. Pete, myself, Mike Yamamoto, Brian McCormick, Ryan Mastro, Wayne Rezzi. We have so many of our experts that chime in on what they're seeing as far as unusual option activity. And the members can also talk back and forth, say what they're trading, ask questions, and so forth live. You can bet they do that too. This is what I did, folks, because they were buying out of the money calls, 155s, when the stock's trading at 145. That's a little bit much of a reach for me. So what did I do? I bought the 150s, sold the 152.50s for 70 cents. How does that work? Well, this is a bull call spread, a call vertical spread. That means for every option I buy at 150, the right to take, I've given somebody else the right to take from me at 152.50. And if you see these prices here, 185 for the one side, the 150s that is, and 152.50 for the other side, you realize that I've paid a net, after I collect $1.15 and pay out 185, my net is 70 cents for something that could go to $2.50. Said another way, since every option is for 100 shares of stock, for every spread that I do, I've paid $70 for something that if the stock is 152.5 or higher, I get out at 250. Paid 70, get out at 250. You get the idea. I could triple my money. Bang! That's another reason I love to spread, especially with theta, time decay being so extreme with weekly options. And there is a chart of Tractor Supply. Let's get to our second of our 3 at 3. It is ACM. ACM, actually this is the third. What am I saying? Moving fast. The third of our 3 at 3 is ACM. It's an infrastructure play. They're buying December 45 calls. They bought 10,000 of those calls with the stock at 39.68. That's a lot of calls, folks. That's 1 million share equivalent in call purchase, because every option's for 100 shares. So when you buy 10,000 of them, add 2 zeros to it, you get the idea. It's not 100,000, it's a million share equivalent. And how much do they control that for? Let's say you paid 180 bucks for each one of these options. $1.80 would be 180 bucks. So that means that if you bought 10,000 of them, that's $1.8 million worth of calls changing hands. I want to be on the same side of the market as people that are committing $1 million, $2 million, $3 million to a trade. I think those folks may have better information than us, and that's why I joined them. So that's what I did. I bought calls in here, but I also bought these 40 calls and sold these 45 calls. Again, even though time decay for a December option isn't the issue, I wanted a lot of protection and a lot less money on the line. So instead of paying $2 for these out of the money calls, I was able to put together a spread 1-to-1, much like I did in the previous example, Tractor Supply. So there is me talking about ACM. Stock was up 13 cents, 39.36. There is the activity. It's way over 10,000 now. It's up to 15,000. So in other words, 1.5 million share equivalent. Not 1 million share, 1.5 million share equivalent. And that's on the left side of your screen. You see the heat seeker there lighting up with those calls. On the right side of your screen, you see the chart with that associated move in ACOM, and the stock's still up at 39.68, not 39. Oh, sorry, exact same price. How about that? 39.68. I was going to say, not 39.36. Bang. All right, so there you've got my trades. I'm in Apple, was already in Apple. I'm in ACOM, AECOM, which is symbol ACM, and I'm in Tractor Supply, TSCO. Bang. You want to learn more about how we do what we do, go over to marketrebellion.com/UOA. That is marketrebellion.com/UOA for unusual option activity. We have up to 20 some odd trades every single day on that site, folks. And as I say, people can talk back and forth and ask us questions and so forth. And if that's too much for you, we've got one trade per day. We don't judge. We'd be happy to have you in any of our services. And if one trade a day is still too much, we have one trade a week. We have Pete's cash flow portfolio, where Pete is picking out the best total returns as far as dividends and covered call sold against stock that you own. Pete does that on a weekly basis. So you can decide what you like best. Stock and options, just options once a week, just options once a day, just options all day long. You decide what's appropriate for you. We can't make that decision for you, but we appreciate you joining us, and I hope that you join us for our evening tonight with Liz Young from BNY Mellon. That's going to be in about 45 minutes from right now. You can still register at marketrebellion.com, and I hope we see you tonight. Thank you, my friends. Enjoy the day, and I will be back with you tomorrow.